Well, hello everyone. Fred Waller here with Waller Tax and Financial Services. I've been dying to get this information out to all of my small business clients and those small businesses that have a lot of questions about this new round of stimulus called PPP 2.0. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at this quick video. Attention, relief for small business owners, PPP 2.0. It has launched today. So, how to get ready for PPP round two? Well, there was a stimulus relief bill that was signed on December 27th, 2020. And here's what it did it gave $284 billion for a second round of loans to small businesses. And CDFI lenders have access to the program starting Monday, January 11th, 2021, for first time PPP borrowers. CDFI lenders have access to the program starting Wednesday, January 13th, 2021, for what we call second draw PPP borrowers. And we'll talk about that in a couple seconds. All other lenders, like your Citizens Bank, Wells Fargo, some of your more larger institutions, will have access to the program hopefully by the end of the week or early next week. They haven't given specific guidance on that. So here's what business owners need to know. Couple questions. First of all, can a business apply for a second loan if it received one in the first round? Okay. And the answer to that question is yes. Businesses can receive a second draw. You must have spent the entire amount of the first loan, though. Here's another question. When and how can businesses apply? Well, through SBA approved lenders. And what you want to do is check with the bank that you already have a business relationship with. And that's for those of you who did the first draw. Check with the bank that you already received your first PPP loan with. And that's for those of us who are looking to possibly get a second draw. Well, when can borrowers apply? Okay. If you did not get a PPP loan the first time, then you can start applying at community financial institutions starting Monday, January 11th, 2021. And that's for people who are defined to be first draw, meaning I didn't get the PPP the first time for whatever reason, but I want to try to get it again. If you did get a PPP loan the first time, then the SBA is saying that community financial institutions or CDFI lenders will be ready on Wednesday, January 13th, 2021. Now, why is it like this? Because part of this new legislation, they have set aside $30 billion of that $284 billion is set aside for small community banks and minority depository institutions. So that's why there's some date things. Well, what is the deadline for applying? Well, the program will end March 31st, 2021, or earlier, depending on when the money runs out. And just like the first PPP round, the money actually did run out. And so you want to get ready and get yourself in the position as soon as you can. What businesses are eligible? Well, it depends. Is this your first PPP loan or is it your second? If this is your first PPP loan, then you are eligible based on terms established for the first round of PPP. Businesses with 500 or fewer employees, and you have to declare that your business has been affected by COVID. If this happens to be your second PPP loan, meaning you received one maybe sometime in April or May of last year, and you would like to be considered for a second round or a second draw, then here's some unique particulars. You must have utilized the full amount of your first PPP loan. You can have no more than 300 employees. The last round was 500 employees, so they're trying to focus in on even smaller businesses. And here's the very unique caveat that makes this all the more important that we get structured and get situated as soon as possible. Your revenue needs to have decreased at least 25% in 2020 compared to the same quarter in 2019. That's very important. which means you're going to have good records. Well, how much can a business borrow? Well, that calculation gets a little bit complex. I'll say complex because I'm not going to try to get fully into the weeds of it, but I'll just say it's based on your payroll and be established three different ways. You can either use your 2019 payroll, your 2020 payroll, or you can just grab the last 12 months of payroll. Businesses will select the most advantageous of those three calculations. Most businesses will take that number, divide it by 12, and multiply it by 2.5. If you are a restaurant, hotel, or other business categorized under NAICS code 72, you can multiply by 3.5. So basically, the spirit of this is more hard hit industries like live venue facilities, restaurants, um, businesses of that nature will have a different factor, which will allow them a little bit more stimulus relief. What can the money be used for? Well, 60% of the PPP loan must be used for payroll cost. And because the calculation is based on payroll for the most part, unless you're self-employed, and that's another little deeper dive that we won't get into here, but it is available for people that are self-employed with no employees. But for those who have employees, it's 60% of the PPP loan must be used for payroll costs. And they have expanded it to some other things, but most people are going to qualify based on what they do for payroll, unless you're self-employed. And then there's a little bit more specific things you'll have to do. And right now, the full guidance on that hasn't come out. So just stay tuned. Group insurance payments, covered supplier costs, covered worker protection expenditures, covered operations expenditures, and covered property damage expenditures. Those are some of the newer costs that you can use your PPP funds for and use those for forgiveness purposes. Well, what about loan forgiveness? Well, as long as you use the money for the expenditures outlined in the prior slide, the PPP loan will be forgiven. If for whatever reason the loan is not forgiven, it becomes a bona fide loan with a 1% interest rate and a 5-year repayment term. The loan is not considered income for tax purposes. And I should also say, while the loan is not considered income for tax purposes, they did a great thing. They cleaned up and made sure it was clear that whatever expenses you spend or you use can also be tax deductible. Well, what is the covered period? That's the period of time of which you have to spend your PPP funds, or at least demonstrate that you've spent it for some of those covered costs. And this new plan, each borrower can pick a covered period between 8 weeks and 24 weeks. And what's being recommended is to choose the 24 weeks, which kind of takes pressure off of you, gives you ample time to spend all the money so that you can have the adequate records. So it's probably in your best interest to pick the longer 24-week period, but you can pick any week between 8 weeks and 24 weeks if you happen to get done and you just want to be done with it. So here's some important next steps, okay? And this is where I can help. So give me a call if you're one of my existing small business clients, or if you're not a small business client of mine, give the office a call. And if you can do this as soon as possible before we get too busy, we might be able to help you guys with this. You must identify whether or not you qualify. And one of the questions you have to ask yourself is, did you experience a 25% reduction in gross revenue from one quarter in 2020 compared to that same quarter in 2019? If you did, then you need to get your payroll reports based on those three calculations to decide which one would be better. You then need to make sure you are properly positioned with your lender so that you will be able to get in line as soon as they're ready. For example, my bank is Citizens Bank. I have met the qualifications, and so I will be able to apply for the second round of PPP. I know specifically my bank needs my email address so that and I need to be registered in their system so that when the email goes out that has the link to apply, I will receive that email link. Not sure what other institutions are doing, but you want to call your institution and see what steps you need to be in the position to get in line as soon as they are ready. What I want you guys to do, please share this with other business owners. Quite candidly, it's really important that as many business owners know about this as possible, number one. And number two, if they don't have someone that can help them navigate through this, within reason, I would love to be able to be that person to help. Now, most good accountants are going to start to get really busy, so you want to make sure you get on this right away. Again, this is Fred Waller with Waller Tax and Financial. We're on Facebook. Follow us at Waller Tax and Financial Services on Facebook. Um, we have a YouTube channel. This video will be up on our YouTube channel. If it is, hit like and subscribe so that you can always be ready for all of the information that we want to offer. Thank you so much, and we will talk soon.